A new wave of violence in the Middle East following the U.S. and Israel's coordinated attacks on Iran to dismantle the country's nuclear program and also force a change of regime. Thank you for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Troy Hayden. Iran has vowed to avenge their supreme leader's death, and officials have confirmed now that 3 U.S. service members were killed during yesterday's operation, 5 more seriously injured. Parts of Iran's capital under plumes of smoke today as Israel launches a new wave of strikes on Tehran. People trying to flee the violence.
Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved.
This comes a day after the U.S. and Israel launched a massive and coordinated missile attack designed to eliminate the Iranian regime and its nuclear program.
This is a decision of real leadership to remove such a threat and enable the world to breathe.
The strikes killed Iran's supreme leader, along with members of his family, Iran's defense minister, and other key military leaders. According to Iranian state media, hundreds of civilians were also killed, at least 165 students whose school was hit by one of the U.S.-Israeli strikes. Iran launching a wave of retaliatory strikes on U.S. military bases, targets in Israel and across the Middle East, vowing to avenge their supreme leader's death.
If President Trump didn't want to see Iran hitting back and pushing back, President Trump should have not started this war from the beginning.
Iranian missiles hitting this residential building near Jerusalem. The conflict has rocked densely populated areas and damaged air hubs in the Middle East. This video showing smoke filling the Dubai airport.
We've seen wave after wave of Iranian missile and drone attacks. I think there's a very clear message on the part of the Iranians that no one is safe.
Oil shipments are also disrupted. This tanker was struck in the Strait of Hormuz. About 20% of the world's oil travels through this major route between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. Here in the Valley, hundreds of people in Scottsdale were rallying, showing their support for this military strike. They stood at the corner of Scottsdale and Camelback Road. You can see they're waving American flags and Iranian flags. And they had signs thanking President Trump for that military action.
People that have family back home, and this is their heart and soul. They work for a living. They are from Iran. They have family in Iran. They care about what's going on, and they're delighted that the United States decided to take this great opportunity to get rid of one of the worst dictators of all time.
Organizers say they hope Iranians now will have a chance at a better and safer future. But anti-war demonstrators making their voices heard outside the state capitol yesterday, saying they aren't going to let this war happen without an outcry. In response to the attacks, Tempe and Phoenix police are boosting patrols near places of worship, especially during the month of Ramadan. That's an Islamic holy period. The city of Tempe says they'll continue working with faith leaders and other law enforcement agencies to make sure our community is safe. Meteorologist Chris Dunn is in here now. Another record breaker, third one in a row, Chris.
Yep, 3 in a row, and we did hit 93 degrees today. It beat the old record of 89 back in 2016, 74. That is what we would expect at this time of the year. And that 93, by the way, this is the earliest we've ever hit that mark. The previous earliest was March 5th, back in 1972. So that wraps up our month of February. Here we are in March now, but we did have the warmest winter on record. We had the single-day February record of 92. That was yesterday. And also the most 80-degree days in a single winter. In fact, the winter record, 64 degrees was the average temperature. Blew away all the other records, including last year's 61.3. And a lot of those have happened since the year 2000. A lot of recent warm winters on record for Phoenix. 60s tomorrow morning. If you're going for a hike, try to do it early. I know this is not extreme heat by desert standards by any stretch of the imagination, but it is hot. It's high heat, and it's a dry heat, especially for this early in the season. We'll pop back up into the 90s, and a little bit of a breeze starts to kick in, and that breeze will bring in some slight cooling. 87 on Tuesday, 86 on Wednesday. This is a trend that's going to take us back to the 70s in the 7-day forecast. That's coming up in just a bit. Troy?
What is this thing 70s you speak of? All right.
Yeah, we'll feel it.
Thank you, Chris. The new tonight, a Mesa man says his wife was shot dead on their neighbor's doorstep in the early morning hours. He spoke exclusively to 12 News, saying he has no idea what happened. And police don't have many answers either. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra is in Mesa with new details on what happened.
Family tells me Maria Lewis was shot and killed while out walking around her neighborhood. They still don't know why, and police tell us it's under investigation.
She's a great person. I mean, she did a lot for these kids too.
32-year-old Maria Lewis, a mother to 7 kids between the ages of 2 and 11, died just a few hundred feet from home on her neighbor's doorstep. That's according to her husband, Albert Mendeville, who has many questions about what led to his wife's death.
Right now, I'm just thinking she's still out there.
Mendeville tells me his wife went for a walk around their quiet Southeast Mesa neighborhood around 2:30 Saturday morning. He was at home with their children when he saw police lights through the window.
I see red and blue lights, on the back of the apartments, and I came running out, and I look over, and I ran over, and that's when the police pulled me back.
Mendeville says investigators confirmed his wife had died, but he still doesn't know why she was shot.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know what made her go over there.
According to Mesa police, officers responded to a welfare check at a home near Ray and Ellsworth Roads on Saturday morning. Officers found an adult had died of an apparent gunshot wound, and police now confirmed to 12 News that person was Lewis. A manner of death for her is not listed on the medical examiner's page. Police aren't sharing any other information, including who shot her or what led up to the shooting. I knocked on the neighbor's door where the shooting reportedly happened, but no one answered. The doorbell and several pavers near the doorstep are missing.
Just lost the words right now.
As friends since childhood,
Pretty much like my sweetheart.
Mendeville says he and Lewis spent most of their life together.
She was an amazing woman. She was bright, had a beautiful smile.
He lost his best friend, and 7 children lost their mother.
We had a life together.
Police tell us detectives are actively working this investigation, and they'll share more information once it's available. In Mesa, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
Gabby, thank you. And another strange story here. A woman and child are hurt after a car hits them while they were in their own backyard. Police say a car crashed right through the backyard wall at their Tempe home near Baseline and Rural. They were taken to the hospital. The woman is expected to be okay, but the child apparently has some serious injuries. The driver was not hurt. Police believe impairment was a factor. A major roadway shuts down in Mesa this morning after a car crashes into a pole. This is near Country Club and Baseline. No word yet on the condition of the driver, but you can see, boy, all that wreckage. It looks like it was a fiery crash as well. No word on what led up to it. DPS is investigating. A person is forced out of their home after a fire broke out in Phoenix overnight just before 1 a.m. Firefighters quickly put that fire out, got everybody out of the house. The cause of that fire is still under investigation. The latest numbers coming from the U.S. Border Patrol show migrant encounters hit lows the country hasn't seen in more than 50 years. And what a difference to what we saw here in Arizona just a few years ago in our 2 different border sectors. Today, an AZ anchor Allison Rodriguez traveled to Yuma County to see how life there has changed.
At one point, the Yuma sector of the southern border was ground zero for the migrant crisis. Thousands of people crossing into the U.S., many seeking asylum. The sheer number of encounters overwhelmed Border Patrol. It's something Jonathan Lyons, born and raised in the area, will never forget.
This really was ground zero, where the cartels actually had control of the border.
Lyons also sits on the Yuma County Board of Supervisors. He says the situation at the southern border is drastically different today.
We still have people who are attempting to come across, but instead of being 500 to 1,000 a day, it's maybe 4 or 5.
Since President Donald Trump took office a second time, he's enacted several policies and signed executive orders that have essentially closed the border to asylum, has declared a border emergency, expanded enforcement, and revived policies like Remain in Mexico, requiring asylum seekers to wait in Mexico until their U.S. court appearances. It's a relief for farmers like Corey Mellon, who saw crops take a hit in 2023.
When you have people walking around in the middle of your production area that don't know your worker safety rules, don't know your food safety rules, that becomes an inherent problem.
Tomorrow morning on Today in AZ, we're diving deeper into the impact still left on border communities, including for farmers responsible for produce going all over the country and the new focus officials have. I'll see you then. For 12 News, I'm Allison Rodriguez.